I've come to this important realization yet again, and I often forget about this when I'm going through some trials. And God's put it back into my spirit based on something that happened last night, nothing major, just a moment where fear and anxiety came in about a particular situation. And I usually deal with it well, but last night, the way in which I got over it was by speaking to it, by speaking to the situation that I was in, speaking to the adversity, and speaking the finished work of Jesus, the finished work of the cross over that situation. And something about hearing the words that come out of my voice when I'm really in a place of meaning the words, really connecting myself to what Jesus did on the cross and the intention behind why he went to the cross and ultimately was beaten, bruised, and abused with his blood shed on the cross, was so that you and I don't have to suffer in this life ongoingly, right, without a solution. God, he actually bore all the different types of torture, pain, suffering, ailments on the cross. And sometimes where we are in our lives, maybe we are harboring the problem more than we realize. And sometimes it's just as simple as a mindset, having your mind set on realizing that with Jesus being in your life, with Jesus being the sacrificial lamb on the cross that was ultimately there to be our savior, he's already done what he needed to do. His assignment is complete. And when you speak life into your situation, which is Jesus into your situation, you can start to notice things change. I've often realized myself when I'm panicking over a thought or causing anxious thoughts to come because of pondering in my mind, I generally am not talking to myself. It's just things that are going on in my head that I am allowing. And often is the case for many people where you could be in a room with five other people. They could be thinking that you're sitting fine, peacefully, not bothered, watching the TV, enjoying the company. But sometimes you can just be in your head, processing thoughts. And I found myself in many moments like that before when I've been in a room and I'm focused on the pain from a sound in my head that was overpowering. So maybe I look like, everything's okay. Maybe some realize, but the end result is that generally you're just allowing all the fear and anxiety to stay bottled up in your head. And Jesus says, well, it states in the Bible in Proverbs 18:21, it says, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruits. So obviously, being that the power is in our tongue, we have the power to direct the situation into life or into death, right? And ultimately, with saying that those who love it will eat of its fruits. If you are harboring and cultivating dialogue and words that are speaking life into your situation, I believe that in due time, the more you do that, you're literally going to receive the fruits of speaking that truth over yourself. But when you're not speaking to yourself, and maybe you're just having these, bad thoughts recycling in your head, you can often get stuck. You can often, not know where to go from there. But when you start to speak out what's inside, not only are you releasing what's inside and letting go of what's being bottled up, but you're also finding that your fruits are going to be moving towards life, truth, and completion. Like I've come to see that in some tough moments when I would speak that Jesus Christ, he did everything for me, and the finished work of the cross is done in my life. The mission of Jesus was done, completed, and I can claim that in my life. I don't have to, think that the pain and the suffering of this thing that I'm going through has the power to completely knock me off um, each and every time I ponder. If I'm making sense, the point I'm just trying to make is that Jesus Christ wants you and wants me to start to speak to this thing that you're in and dictate the direction of which this situation will go. Because death and life are in the power of the tongue. Your tongue controls your outcome. If you want to live and live a prosperous life, Jesus wants that for you, but you're going to have to speak a prosperous life. You're going to have to speak um, prosperity over your situation. And if you, on the other hand, are speaking negative things, pain and suffering always, then you will see that happen. You know, a lot of the times you hear people say, people that are believers, people that are not, they can all relate that when you start speaking negative, bad things start to happen. That's why people believe in manifestation. Manifestation being something that you speak into existence. But people don't realize that this is all, that is, they've used the idea of manifestation, but it's actually a principle of the Bible that when you speak the truth will set you free. And Jesus is the truth. And he wants you to speak over the situation. So it's just a short message, but a message I believe that is important because it's something that I realize myself yet again that I often forget. And when you do this, you will start to feel that you're taking control of these moments where you feel like you're out of control, where you feel like whenever you're stuck in your mind and whenever you're stuck inside, you often will crumble more when compared to the times that you release it. That's why when you release to your friends or your family or your a person, what do they call that? A psychologist, right? Or a person you go to counseling. You're ultimately just releasing things that are inside that need to come out. But when you release the things that are inside and replace it with what Jesus has done and the promises that are in his book, I believe that is the move in the right direction. So, yes, I believe that you should do this. I should do this, and it will help you and it will help me to get ourselves out from the moments where we are stuck and we see no way and we see, let's say death because we're speaking it or we're not speaking it more so. But long story short, if you feel like this is something that you're doing, try it out. And if you like the video, give it a like, subscribe, send it to your mates, send it to your family members, leave a comment, and thanks for watching.